This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
Perseus was so incensed that he swore in Zeus's name that he would find a fitting wedding present for Polydectes. He settled on the most horrendous gift he could think of, Medusa's head. Just one look at Medusa would transform you into stone. As soon as the words were spoken out loud, Perseus was sorry for his words. But it could not be unsaid, nor his vow unchanged, especially as his oath was made using Zeus's name. Perseus did not know much about Medusa, except that she lived with the Gorgons, her sisters, and to find them, he needed to find the 3 one-eyed witches. But he did not know how to find them. As Perseus pondered how he was going to bring his vow to fruition, he received help from an unlikely source. A noise behind him startled him. Turning around, he saw Athena, goddess of military strategy. She handed him a special sword that could carve through metal of any kind, as well as a polished shield. Hermes had also sent him gifts, a cloak of invisibility with which to conceal himself, and a pair of sandals with wings attached to them. The latter gift was to enable Perseus to fly. The last gift was more mundane. It was a sack with which to hold the gory head of Medusa. The god of tricks and deception then murmured an idea into Perseus's ear. He planted a gem of an idea that took hold of Perseus's imagination. The winged sandals bore Perseus to the witch's lair. There they were, ancient, stooped, and as wrinkled as prunes. They felt Perseus's presence, but as their sockets were eyeless, they could not see. Knowing exactly what they looked like, Perseus framed his question. "Tell me, pretty one, where can I find Medusa's lair?" As soon as he had uttered the question, the witches began to argue among themselves about who the pretty one was. Intending to solve the riddle, one of the witches took out the one eye they all shared. As she raised it to insert it into one of her eyeless sockets, Perseus reached out to grab it. "Tell me," he said to them, "where can I find Medusa, or I'll feed this eye to the scavengers?" To avoid looking at the horrible sight, he closed his fist. The witches could not risk harm coming to the only eye they had, so they told him what he wanted to know. Thanks once again to his winged sandals, he was soon airborne and headed towards the Gorgon's cave. The terrible sisters had their wings folded, and their hair squirmed like twisted loops of snakes. They looked so similar that Perseus couldn't tell them apart. He looked at each of them carefully. He noticed that near one a small rodent had been frozen into stone. That had to be Medusa, he mused. So he drew his sword and slowly approached her.